Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the I don't know what episode we're on, episode of the Primllife podcast. I have my childhood bully on today, the person who made the most. No, not at all. But certainly a big impactful person on my powerlifting, and the person who's maybe will fix my bench, maybe.
I take full credit for every pound he's ever deadlifted. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
And yeah, it's funny though because he's incredible at what I'm the worst at, and vice versa. But finally, maybe, dude, your lifts are getting up there. They're finally getting up there. Squat and deadlift are hitting. I feel like hitting bigger numbers every time you do them, which is fun to see. I think it's mostly a mental barrier.
Yeah, I definitely think that the reason that my numbers have been kind of going up recently is because I'd always told myself that once I can crack 365 on squats, as minuscule as that sounds, numbers are just going to fly from there. And so I think that once I hit the 365 on squats, it's just I broke that mental barrier.
You broke that mental plateau that you had set. But powerlifting. Why powerlifting? Why not bodybuilding? Why not get aesthetic and look good?
You see, the thing about that is because heavy stuff is fun to pick up.
Fair enough.
Like
quite simple.
I mean, powerlifting is definitely the sport that's going to be taking over really soon. Like it's going to be big soon because it's not only coming more into the mainstream, but more people are realizing that they can do it.
Yes.
Because really all you need, the bare minimum you need is a power rack and a bar.
Yeah.
And 300 pounds in weights.
And the thing is, you are competing against other people, but at the end of the day, it's really an individual journey. Yeah. I mean, nobody really cares unless you're like the top 1% how much you squat, bench, or deadlift. But it's very much taking it at however you want to take it. There's different training techniques. It's different from bodybuilding in that it's very much the competitive nature is very different. When I was at my first powerlifting meet and he's competing on his at Saturday, the people I was competing against were more excited for me than I was for myself.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing.
It's definitely a sport against you, especially once you are starting.
Yeah.
But then the more people you meet, the more supportive it is. And back to what I was saying about how this is going to be the next big sport, really, it's because, one, the whole social media thing, and a lot more short people can get into this, which sounds really funny. But like me, for example, I'm 5'7", and I mean, I hate to bust anybody's dreams out there that's under 6 foot and wants to go to the NFL. Probably not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And powerlifting is one of those sports that benefits short people.
Yeah.
It's like that and water polo are the only two sports that benefit short people.
Yeah. And
how many water polo teams do you know of around here?
None, not at all.
So I definitely think that there's going to be a big shift. Gyms are going to get if you ever want to open a gym, now is the time.
I would agree.
Because with the kids wanting to come in, get big now, people just wanting to be strong, and I think that people are starting to see that, oh hey, being 600 pounds is definitely a reality if I don't get my life on track.
Yes.
And so there's just going to be a lot more general fitness people getting into the sport.
And it keeps it pretty, I would say it takes a lot of the guesswork out. There is going to be a lot of, so not really strategy, but a lot of programming and numbers. But at a very basic level, you don't really need to know much. Just lift heavy, get some rest, train in the low rep range, lift more every time you lift.
It's like Ed Cohn when he first started out. He said that he maxed out every day until he got a 500-pound squat. You don't need a whole lot of stuff to be a good powerlifter.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, lifting heavy stuff's a blast. I mean, when I was doing more bodybuilding style training, it was boring. It's I'm gonna do my curls, and I still do my curls. I mean, you guys all know that. I love my curls.
What was that about curls? No.
I don't do any curls. What are you talking about?
It's kind of funny. You asked me about why didn't I get into bodybuilding? One, because you're not gonna win anything as a 5'6"er, but
I think it favors the short people because the muscle's more visible.
Well, yeah, but then again, the taller people with more muscle would still always win. But the thing about that is everybody, when they're in bodybuilding, they're always so hyped to talk about their PRs. Why not just do a sport that you constantly get PRs in?
Literally.
That's all the more powerlifting is just another PR after another PR after another PR.
Yeah, and it's really cool to be I can move the weight that I couldn't even get off the ground 3 months ago. As that's a very cool concept. You're literally adding, in bodybuilding, you can get bigger arms, bigger muscles. It's cool. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to see progress like that. But it's like, it's very subjective because you look different day to day. And well, powerlifting's a little bit subjective in that like you'll lift a little bit different every day. But like it's very, you don't look at a photo of yourself 3 years ago in the perfect lighting and be like, I look bigger in that photo than I do now. You look at a photo of yourself benching 225 compared to you benching 335 now. Like the progress is so like you can see it.
Yeah, and it's powerlifting is so much more objective than bodybuilding. Like you and I can go back and forth and argue all day who's got the better vacuum or who's got the better back, but you can put a video of me benching 315 and you a video of benching 275, and we can all agree that 275 is 40 pounds less than 315. It's so much more objective.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I think that and like boxing and like mixed martial arts sports like that, like context or fighting sports are two other things. Like if I knock your ass out, your ass is knocked out. Like I won. Like it's so much more objective.
Versus like one of the judges giving more points for the quad. It's based off of an angle that I don't know. Yeah, and it's also like it's a veiny sport too. To a level, bodybuilding is to a level. Powerlifting is just a bunch of fat, happy people, just like loving their life.
That is one of the cool things that's actually shifting about powerlifting is that it's changing to a lot more people that actually shower more than once a week.
Yeah. And people who aren't super obese either.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of fat people. Yeah. Which is fine. I mean,
once you get up past like 242, it's hard to be shredded, or it's hard to have like visible abs.
Unless you're Larry Wheels, who's like 300 pounds and diced. And was hitting PRs a week before his bodybuilding show.
Yeah, I fucking squatted 900 pounds 2 weeks out from a comp.
That's crazy. I cut my calories by 200, and I feel like I dropped 30 pounds on my squat.
Dude, yeah, just it's so weird seeing the change from, like, I know that this is more of like a lifestyle focused podcast and a lifestyle focused channel, but it's a weird shift from powerlifting being a bunch of sweaty dudes in crew necks in a dingy basement to seeing $1 million facilities being dedicated solely to powerlifting.
It almost like it's like a whole new science at this point.
It really is. Yeah. And like it's kind of funny seeing how much the sport has grown in 10 years. Because like I guarantee you go back 10, 15 years and you wouldn't find a powerlifting gym with red calibrated plates. It just wouldn't be there.
Yeah, there's always all the dingy, bashed up 45 metal ones.
Yeah.
In the basement with ceilings that are like 5 feet high.
Yeah, you jump or you sneeze too hard and you whack your head on the ceiling.
Literally. Yeah, and I actually feel like if you look at like the popularity, it kind of dipped. I'd say like around 2005, maybe like early 2000s.
Yeah.
But now it's like shot back up to the point where like, and I feel like for better or for worse, the kind of Gymshark movement kind of helped it to a level.
Yeah, it definitely brought it more into the mainstream, and that's kind of one thing that I've always held a philosophy on is like, are you familiar with the term of gatekeeping? It's where, you know what gatekeeping is. Like, you can't really get angry at gatekeepers because they're bringing more talent into the sport.
No.
And, like, you can't gatekeep Gymshark for whatever they do.
And I'd say it honestly ended up at, like, it might have been something, like, I would have looked at, like, a year ago and been like, oh, Gymshark, gross, as I wear their clothes. Comfortable clothes. I don't like what they promote. Comfortable clothes. But now it's like, you have a bunch of athletes who are aesthetic while lifting a lot of weight, kind of to prove it wrong, and bring in people who thought that you had to be fat. We're now like, I can compete in a low weight class against people my size and not be like blown away by Grizzly Kratos.
Scarecrow's Grizz,
Yeah, I love that man.
The bloat lord.
I think if he might have been able to like compete in World's Strongest Man.
Oh no, dude, he is the world's strongest man. I'm kidding.
No, it's I would say like was he Zercher starting like 900 pounds?
Yeah, fucking insane.
I did the 405 Zercher carry and I felt my abs tearing.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. And the man's flexible too.
Yeah.
You see him putting his foot above his head?
Yeah, he can go into a full squat, or he can go into the full splits and touch his chest to the ground. It's insane.
It's insane. At that point, like, the fat has just I don't know. It's not even fat at that point. It's just
he maxed out a 200 kilo scale. That was fucking hilarious.
Oh my gosh, 420 pounds, and then at least 420 pounds.
Yeah, shit, dude. The Russians just have it mastered with strength and conditioning.
I feel like they're so intense. Like it's hard not to be.
It's
the best
not
at
even
something.
that they're intense. I mean, they are, but like, they just start kids out from a younger age.
Yeah, that
like,
plasticity that they have.
Yeah,
they're literally transforming their bodies as they develop into machines designed for powerlifting. It's cool.
Like, it's like you look at Yuri Belkin. Yuri Belkin started lifting when he was like 6 or 7,
and they make them gymnastics beforehand,
yeah.
which has been shown to literally increase like their muscular and skeletal potential by
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, it's just because you get flexibility and you have you develop your work capacity at an early age.
It's like what Matt Wenning said. It's like start your kids off their own sports if you want them to
Yeah.
have good central nervous systems.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's probably where that's going to be your biggest pitfall, is that by no fault of your own, you weren't exposed to sport very early. What was your first sport? Cross country in 6th grade?
So, yeah, pretty much. That's honestly about it. I fell a lot as a kid, which might have actually helped. I was a very physical kid who didn't do any sports.
Yeah.
Just like running, falling into the ground, hitting things. Which actually probably like kind of maybe evened it out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I did very little sports, and I would honestly say I'm like one of the worst athletes I know. Like for what I have, I've done a decent bit. Like with getting a decent deadlift, getting a decent squat, benching an okay amount, and doing a lot of pull-ups. Like I'd say that's like my strength, almost one of my strengths where I might come out a little bit ahead. But when I started off, it took me a year to bench a plate.
Yeah, and
you hit like 150 when you like first bench.
Oh
or something.
no! Like the first time I ever benched, it was 135 for like 8.
That's
Because I mean, granted, I'm built to bench. I don't know if anybody can really see at home, but I have little stumpy arms, and like I said, I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
And I have such an arch
and
that
if you look at my arms, I can.
Yeah, like he's built to deadlift.
I could slap him from across the.
Well, yeah. But it's so immeasurably important how your first like 8 to 10 years on this planet are, because like that is your base of the pyramid. Everything is built from that.
Yeah.
So.
And genetics do play a little bit of a role in it, but like don't focus on your genetic shortfalls. Focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
You're just gonna be depressed and sad if you're like, oh, my short arms don't allow me to deadlift anything. It's just like, yeah, focus on what you can control. Get a decent deadlift, but also just have a massive bench like you.
I mean, or hear me out. Just outwork your genetics.
Yeah.
Your genetic ceiling is.
Or take roids. You know, if you want to buy from
Yeah. Lifetime Natural Sarms link in bio. No, it's your genetic ceiling is astronomically higher than you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, I come from a family of construction workers, farmers, and actually like powerlifters. My genetic ceiling is the fucking moon if I want it to be. And it's just a matter of I need to potentiate that.
Yeah.
Now you don't come from a very
I come from a bunch
family.
of skinny Germans who haven't seen the sun ever.
Yeah, and I mean, you are doing you're not necessarily redlining what you can do, but you're doing the best of what you can with what you have, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like
if people, I was always kind of pushed around, and most people can know this. I was always kind of pushed around for being small. So
by me mainly.
But mainly by him. You know, depression. You know, no, not at all. It was very much like very fun person, good person. Made fun of me, but also like helped build me up.
Dude, it was so funny. I hate to interrupt you again, but he's a year older than me. So when he was a sophomore, I was a freshman. I was a freshman, and all I wanted to do was bench because Arnold had the big pecs or whatever, and I wanted to be like Arnold. And so,
aren't I 2 years older than you?
Did you graduate last year?
Graduated last year.
Were you a senior when I was Anyway.
Are you a junior right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a freshman in high school, so 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, so he was 2 years older than me, so it must have been either your junior year or your... Yeah, because it was my freshman year.
Yeah.
And I kept making fun of you for being chicken legs. And I just kept making fun of you, and then a year and a half later, I hadn't had any contact with you, and I see you pull 600, like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, where did this dude come from?
It being my weakness. So I think what limited me with upper body was that I trained too hard. And that's not... I trained the wrong things too hard and trained the right things too little.
Yeah.
So, like, I was very rounded forward. I didn't have good back strength. So I'm kind of rounded forward. But I have decent back strength now. I had very weak triceps. but I had very big biceps.
Your monoceps.
The monocept. Literally the monocept. And now that's changed to where my triceps are big, but they're still weak. And so that's kind of the weakness. If your chest is strong enough to bench 400, but your triceps are still limited at that 315 lockout strength, your bench is not going to go up.
Yeah, and I mean, I was always a relatively strong kid. Like, I benched 225, like, 3 months into my freshman year. I'd always been a strong
Took me 2
bencher.
years.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, arm length or whatever.
Watching you bench, sorry for interrupting, it's literally like watching me do like a 4-inch block. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, for me, it's like, okay, go down, now up, 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 up. For you, it's just like, and it's
Yeah,
just like,
and I mean,
that range, and you have a good arch too, you know.
I have a very healthy arch. Like, I could definitely, like, pour my arch out a little bit more and be a negative parabola, but I just feel like I'm so much stronger where I am just because I can engage my back more.
Mm-hmm.
But shit, what were we talking
I don't
about?
know, something about genetics.
No, it was a little bit after that.
Oh.
Anyway, one thing that I think that you've really, really, really progressed well on, and I just noticed this the other day when we were at Metro, your deadlift positioning is insane.
It's gotten so much better.
Like, yeah, like you really took that whole pull yourself under the bar thing to heart. Like, granted, it's a fucking noodle bar at Metro, but with your positioning, I saw 3 plates come off the ground before you even started pulling, which is insane.
It shortens the range of motion. It keeps your spine healthier. I finally deadlift. So initially, when I do sumo, I'd still have a little bit of back pain when I pulled, and I noticed that my torso was so much over the bar. Like, I just did not have good setup at all. Like, when I would pull, my back would still be rounded at the top. And kind of the Matt Wenning podcast, when he talked about, like, oh, if you want to, like, lift, not be in, like, a wheelchair when you're 60, you got to keep your back straight. And I noticed that when I started wedging myself a lot more, my shins, it'd find the bar would, because I always heard, like, bloody shins.
Yeah.
Never had that problem once.
I mean,
Literally looks like he got, like...
I started taping my shins more because, you know, Jimmy told me to quit bleeding on his bar so much, but
Fair enough.
It's moved a little bit more up to my thighs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's your positioning has really come a long ways, which I'm
hip
pretty
flexibility.
proud of.
I think squatting wide helped me kind of learn how to deadlift
Yeah.
better. But yeah, I started sumo deadlifting as like a conventional, and then I kind of switched it around. And now, like, no pain. Like, I'm able to. I pulled 500 the other day on conventional just to see what I could do. No pain at all. Normally, like, I would feel fine, then the next day I'd have like a tightness and some pain in my spine. Like, I'm good now. It's great. And the bar's finally scraping. My problem is the bar is like too close, and I'll hit my knees on the way down. So like I sometimes just have these massive bruises on my knees. But like, yeah, you're right. I appreciate you noticing that.
I can talk to you about that later, how you can fix that. But
I love that.
Neither of us are exceptionally good squatters, which sucks because I'm gonna be an exceptionally good squatter someday. But
Someday.
it's kind of funny how I was built to squat. Like, I have relatively long legs, like in comparison to my torso, and for the longest time I couldn't squat 315. But it's what really helped it was changing my form. Yeah. And what everybody gets wrong about form is it's not something you can just tell yourself to fix. Yeah. Like, I noticed when I first started trying to fix your bench, you would flare your elbows out because you were so chest dominant, because you were taught that it was a pec dominant exercise, which so is everybody else. But I didn't tell you that you just fix it by telling you to tuck your elbows, because when you've got 300 pounds in your hand and you're not thinking about form, all you're thinking about is get this weight up, you're going to resort to your strongest muscle group, which was your pecs at that time. Yeah. And so what I told you to do was I told you to pound the piss out of your triceps for 3 months, and now you and I have pretty similar bench form.
Yeah. Switching to the close grip was good.
Yeah.
And it limited me a lot in the beginning, and it's finally starting to get like a little bit stronger. I have really good days and I have really bad days with my bench. Like, it's one of those lifts that fluctuates so much. It's like, I finally have big triceps. Because normally I would close grip and my elbows would still flare. I'm stronger in my true close grip, elbows in, than I was with flaring and muscling it up. It's weird how that works. And the thing is, like, all my injuries healed. My shoulder's finally good for the first time in forever. It would click, and it still does click a little bit, but I would be in so much, it'd just be so, like, cramped up during my workouts because of, like, how much force was being put on it in a weird way. I had terrible tendonitis in my elbows. And it's like, I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. It's great. It's awesome.
A good bencher can close grip bench, and that's 2 fingers on the smooth or 1 finger on the smooth, depending on how wide your shoulders naturally are. A good bencher can close grip. I think it's like 85% of his max normal bench.
Sounds right.
Because what do you think? Like, I'm guessing I got a 330 bench in me on a great day.
I'd say so.
And you and I were up at Primal, and I did what, 305, 300 on the close grip.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Makes sense.
It's triceps or your bench is so much in the triceps.
Yeah.
Because one, it protects your chest, which is still involved with the bench. It's just that it gets you this far. It gets you this far off your chest, and then here is triceps.
Yeah.
So that's where everybody fails, is like right here.
Yeah.
So if you want to bench big, you need big triceps, and you get that from JMs, skull crushers, dumbbell rollbacks, just any way that you can attack your triceps, do it.
Yeah, literally. If you want to bench big, do your triceps. If you're interested.
Exactly.
Where do you think the sport is going right now? What will we see in 10 years?
I think we're gonna see. That's a good question. I'm thinking it's gonna be more. I think it's really gonna blow up at the collegiate level.
I agree.
Because, I mean, collegiate nationals is already a pretty big thing for powerlifting. But
the federation's just got to get their shit together.
yeah, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, pretty never.
It's gonna be the USPA, and then when the USAPL dies out because they want to charge their fucking lifters $2,000 for a drug test. But I definitely think that you're gonna start seeing more D1 powerlifting teams pop up.
I think so too. That's gonna be really cool.
It's just gonna be, the hard part is gonna be monetizing it.
Yeah.
Because it's like watching golf. If you don't know what you're watching. But it's more. It's a little bit more watchable for the fact that if you see someone with 800 pounds on your back, you can say, "Oh wow, that's a lot of weight."
Yeah.
Whereas with golf, you gotta. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that supplement companies like that, it might be them paying the athletes mostly like sponsorships at a personal level, and that's why you see these like celebrity fitness. David Lade, Ryan Dengler being a good. I love Ryan Dengler. He has some great stuff. Very strong person. People like that kind of pop up who are able to monetize it through YouTube and stuff like that, and then maybe it'll move to like a more of a, hey, you can actually make like a legit living off of powerlifting, which would be really cool. Maybe more like football level, but it's hard because I hate football. I'm gonna be honest, I hate football.
Oh yeah, I less hate football. I more hate the people in football.
Yeah,
it's a great sport, but everybody gets it wrong, and everybody thinks that they're the baddest fucker in town because they play it.
And my thing is like I hate how people become so obsessed with these football players. You're literally wearing another man's name on your back.
I mean, it's your money. Spend it how you want.
Oh, exactly. But why not take it onto yourself and lift and do? I mean, you're not.
Because I'm 5'6". You think I'm gonna make it to the league?
NFL?
Yeah.
No. I mean, like, do something you can control, which is powerlifting. Pretty much anyone can be a powerlifter. You and me, we're pretty close to setting records. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We're very average athletes who got quite strong in what we do.
And I mean, powerlifting is definitely one of those things that to be great. Here, let me.
You need to truck Trumbull every morning.
What? No, but powerlifting is definitely one of those things where in every sport you're gonna have genetic freaks, like Jerry Rice, absolute freak. Tom Brady, absolute freak. LeBron James, absolute freak. But in powerlifting, you're more of a standout genetic freak. Like Larry Wheels set 3 all-time total world records. What the fuck? Who the fuck can do that?
Yeah.
You have to be a genetic freak to do that.
Yes.
Genetic freaks stand out more in powerlifting.
Yes.
So to be good in powerlifting as an above average person like Colin or I would be, it's insane. Like
if I were to put us, that like scale where it's like you have like the 60% of like the main population, the bell curve. I would say like we're on like the maybe top 30%.
Yeah, I would definitely say so because I've come from a relatively athletic family. Like my dad, state record holder in the total back in his day. A handful of really good athletes on my mom's side. I was given good genetics. I'm maybe a little bit higher on the bell curve or lower on the bell curve.
When it comes to your bench, you're on the top. When it comes to your squat and deadlifts, which might change here on like the
Yeah,
more
like-
average-ish.
As far as body type goes, I've got one of the best bodies for powerlifting.
Got the thumb body.
I am
Literally
built
a
like
thumb.
a big toe. Like I'm built like a big toe. That's what you want for a powerlifter.
Yeah.
That's what that's what Joe Sullivan was. That's what Ed Cohn was.
Yeah.
That's what Louie Simmons was. Like anybody who is short and shoulders that can't fit through conventional doorways, that's the powerlifting body.
Yeah.
But like I said, everybody's muscles follow the same laws unless you have like muscular dystrophy, which in that case,
Or like a myosin deficiency, which means you
Yeah.
can literally add almost unlimited, significantly more muscle than any person could dream to. You can come
Yeah.
out as a baby looking like you've been lifting for like the
yeah,
last
isn't
30
that what
years.
Eddie Hall had?
Yeah. The Hercules gene.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
He said his daughter had it, and she'd like throw around kids her age, like boys her age, in like sports, which I think is awesome. I think that's fun to see.
But Joe Sullivan put it best that powerlifting is going to blow up because it's what's next.
I agree.
Because there are so many people that there's so many more people, so there's so many more people in sports, and when there's so many more people in sports, there's more competition, and when there's more competition, more superb, excellent athletes don't get to make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And so once you get out of collegiate wrestling, maybe at the D2 level, maybe you don't make the Olympics. Maybe you're fucking around in the weight room one day and you want to see how much you could squat.
Yeah.
You throw on 500 pounds and you say, oh, gee, I'm pretty good at this for weighing
Yeah.
180 pounds. And then, boom, you got a career as a powerlifter. That's what, not Gary Frank. It might have been Gary Frank, the first guy to ever total 2,900 in gear. That's what he did. He got out of the NFL for 11 years, and then he went and set 5 all-time world records in gear.
Yeah.
Like, it is what's next. It's like, this is what's after wrestling. This is what's after football.
Yeah. It's gonna be cool seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
And I think it's also like a more accessible sport because like you're never 99.9% of kids are not going to be NFL players. But if you want to set like a local record,
Yeah.
I'd say anyone can almost do that unless you're born with like maybe a severe disease.
Yeah,
that you
And
can
there's
do.
obviously going to be outliers.
Yeah.
Like,
But Paralympics, you can.
yeah.
I watched a dude bench. I think it was not 800 pounds.
7-6 or it was like 680.
They like tied him to
720.
the bench
Yeah,
because he didn't have legs.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, the Iranian dude, the big,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
fat Iranian dude. Yeah.
So cool.
It's like it's a sport for everyone because with football you could like I said, short guy. I would be lining up against guys that were 6'2", 6'3" as freshmen in high school. Wrestling, you could be going against someone that's massive and had been doing this since they popped out of the womb.
Yeah.
Whereas in powerlifting, everybody's the same under the bar. 45 pounds weighs the same for me as it does him.
Yes.
I mean, unless we're benching, of course. Then
Yeah, and leverage.
I just turn the gravity down when I bench.
Oh yeah, let's flip the switch on the wall.
Yeah, yeah,
Put
yeah.
your anti-gravity beanie on.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Shirt
Gotta
tuck?
Gotta get the shirt tuck.
Yeah.
Gotta get the shirt tuck. But yeah, it's one of those sports where everybody's the same under the bar.
Yeah.
It's the great equalizer.
Exactly.
But yeah.
I don't know your potential is based off of the work you put into it.
Exactly. Like it's definitely going to be easier to set all-time world records if you are a genetic freak, like you're a Larry Wheels or a John Hack. But there are people that have lasted it. Like I don't remember who it was, but they either set the total world record or the squat world record in 81s. Dude was 42 years old, hadn't set a world record, and he started when he was 17.
I love that.
But you just gotta outlast everybody.
Yeah, literally.
Like, because I hate to break it to anybody listening, but you're not going to stroll into the gym and set a national record or a state record after a year of training.
It takes a long time.
For anybody who doesn't know why that's funny, I took bench seriously for 5 months because I decided that it would be kind of funny to see what I could do if I bench seriously for 5 months, and I'm gonna take a state record.
I was stronger than you.
November.
I was stronger than you earlier this year. I don't know what happened. It's literally like you said that you didn't see me deadlift and then pull 600.
Yeah, it's like where the fuck did you come
we
from?
benched and you're like, oh, you're strong. You're benching 205 for sets of 3 or 4 or 5. Like I'd say that's decent for especially your age. And it's like next time he comes in and it's like we're doing this. And he's like, okay, add this much weight. And he's like, as he increases the weight, the bar's moving quicker and looks easier. And just like, okay, this is like something changed. The switch was flipped. Holy crap.
It's
Puppy.
it's kind of funny what can happen with a lot of spite.
Yeah.
And just like,
That's my downfall. I don't have any.
it was kind of weird how I decided to take this seriously. I was like, you know, I don't really have anything else going. I'm not doing wrestling this year because COVID, and I'm not gonna be on varsity because I'm 5'6" for football. And so I was like, you know what? Why not see how far I can take this? And then I think, when did I hit 315? Was that in March with you?
I want to say so.
I think
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
in
before
March.
my meet, because you, on my
Yeah.
last training day.
Meet prep day, I hit the clean 315. The first day I grinded out 315, it fell a little bit, and I was like, no, I'm not failing this one again.
Yeah.
But
Turn on the afterburns.
yeah, it was it took me 3 months to bench 315. Starting in January, I think that when I started, because I know I couldn't bench 275, so it had to have been like 260s. I went from 260 to 315 in 3 months, and I haven't gone
While dropping weight,
yeah.
while getting shredded.
And then at about, I think it was about March, I signed up for this meet, and I figured, all right, now it might be time to start cutting weight. And I haven't done any weight above 315, but I've taken 315 for a double or a triple.
I think it was a double,
But-
with a triple left in you.
Yeah. But I took 315 for a trip, or we'll just say a double,
Yeah.
round down. I took 315 for a double, and I think that the best that I've ever been is, ironically enough, when I'm training with you. I don't know why, but that's when I hit all of my PRs. But it's just
Your deadlift PR at Metro the other day. That was fun to watch.
that was really funny, because I went from, on like a month, like you look like a couple months back, I think late March I pulled 385 on a stiff bar. Or no, it might have been, I think it was at Metro when I pulled the 385 on their noodle bar. And then late April I pulled 405 for like maybe an RPE 9 at Stoughton's gym up at Primal, where I normally train. And then I just walk into Metro after, you weren't there, but I'd done a handful of bench sets and some overhead press, so I was like fatigued enough. And then I just decided, you know what, let's see what I can do. And then I go and rip 405 for 3.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, but that if I were you and I was training for a powerlifting competition, I wouldn't train with that bar.
I am weaker on it. I really am weaker on it. I don't know why. Probably it doesn't throw me off. Like it feels fine to lift. I've just always been weaker on it. I think my body was so accustomed to the stiff bar and how the stiff bar moved that I just kind of learned how the stiff bar works.
Yeah, like
and
that's what Ed Cohn did when he would train. Is he would train on a stiff bar, and then like the month or two before the meet, he would move to a deadlift bar to get the feel of it.
Yeah.
But that's how he pulled. I think he pulled like 901 on a stiff bar for 2 or something.
My 635 PR was on a stiff bar with straps, but I got 600 up, and my foot slipped. I was an inch from locked it out, but not enough.
Yeah.
Locked it out. I got 600 locked out. Grip was not a problem. It felt fine. And now I haven't really been able to replicate much of that since. Probably just overtraining, honestly. Overtraining and maybe under recovering.
But yeah, that's another thing, is everybody has overtrained at least once in their life.
Yeah.
If you train seriously, and by seriously I mean like anything more than 4 times a week for anything longer than 3 weeks, and you don't have some crazy high work capacity, you've been overtrained.
Yeah.
You need to take a 4th week down.
You might not know it.
3 weeks.
But
it's like what Brian Carroll says, you're picking the scab. Like you're not going to cause any lasting, or you're not going to cause any noticeable damage.
it's just not gonna heal.
Yeah. And eventually it'll scar over, and then you'll fuck up your hormones and protein synthesis, and then next thing you know, you'll be pissing blood.
And getting fat, because your body is so stressed out and cannot handle the stress, and so you just eat more, and it's converted all into fat instead of muscle. And, yeah.
Everything in powerlifting.
And then you're Patrick. No. That was mean.
Everything in powerlifting is about recovery and eating.
Yeah.
Like J.M. Blakely said it best. He's fucking held like 12 world records in multiply.
We got this thing going on.
Held like 12 world records in multiply, or held like 12 world records in multiply back in his day. He said that he never wanted to leave the gym strong. You always want to leave the gym as weak as possible, because it's outside of the gym when you get strong.
Yeah.
Everybody's got it messed up. You're not in the gym to get strong. You're in the gym to get weak. You're out of the gym to get strong. That's why you need to be doing...
You don't gain muscle during the workout, you gain muscle while you recover.
Exactly, and that's why your sleep is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Like, if you are sleeping anything less than 8 hours a night and expecting progress, you are delusional.
Maybe at a high school level, you know, newbie gains kind of popping through. You'll be able to
I
survive
mean,
off 6.
obviously.
But if you get 3 years into the sport and are not sleeping, I'd say 7 good hours. If your sleep is mediocre, 8 hours. If you're not sleeping enough, you're not going to make any progress, and that's where I am.
Charles Polquin, I don't know if anybody listening to this knows who he is.
Probably
Fucking whiz. He says that every hour of sleep you get before midnight or 10 o'clock is worth double the hours of sleep. So, like, let's say if you go to bed at 10 o'clock and you wake up at 6, those 10 hours work as 2 hours. Or those 10 hours work as 4 hours, basically, is what he's getting after. Because it works better because your body still takes in light and it'll still think that you're awake if you... Yeah, anyway. So
Recover.
Sleep is extremely important. So is your eating. You... Like, I don't know how many times people need this pounded into their head, but you need to eat.
Yeah.
You need to eat carbs. Don't be afraid of carbs.
Yeah.
Protein is obviously important. Shoot for a gram per pound of body weight, if not more. And then, for the love of God, eat your fats. Eat your good fats.
Yes.
You need those.
It'll help your hormones. If you want high testosterone, you gotta eat fat.
You don't do steroids. Just eat tuna. That's been my theory. Like,
If you check, he has like 3,000 nanogram per deciliter testosterone from all the tuna he's eating. Yeah, instead of me being diagnosed with like 550, like kind of low T.
It's one of those things that like you almost need to be eating on the hour if you're not. If you're not trying to cut weight, you need to be eating on the hour.
If you want to be the best and you're obsessive about your training, be obsessive about your recovering and your eating, and then you will be the best.
It's one of like I was getting back to what we were saying earlier, how powerlifting is one of those things that you need to do everything right if you want to be the best and you're not a Larry Wheels or whatever. You need to be almost obsessive about this. Everything has to revolve around it, because I don't have Larry Wheels genetics. I don't have Jamal Browner genetics. I don't have Eddie Hall genetics. So I need to take everything as seriously as possible.
Yeah.
I need to sleep 12 hours a night. I need to eat fucking way too much protein. I need to blow myself apart in the gym. Everything you do needs to be done with a purpose and with an intent.
Yeah.
Like, there's stories about Dave Tate when he would try to gain weight because he wanted to bulk up to a weight class. You almost need to treat your food like lifting up, like going in for a big squat. He said that one day when he was trying to gain weight, he had a whole pizza on the coffee table and he ate about half of it, and he thought that he was about to pass out. And so what he did was he had to treat it like it was a big squat. He looked at it, he paced around it, he put on music, sat down and finished that pizza. You need to treat eating like you treat training. You need to treat sleeping like you treat training.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you just need to do. Like, there is no getting around good, high quality sleep. And that you do that by reducing blue light after about 7 o'clock. You do that by just reducing most, like, intakes, like neural intakes after 8 o'clock. You do that by doing almost everything perfect. If you want to be good, you have to do almost everything perfect. And that's like Vince Lombardi said it best. In the pursuit of perfection, we will achieve excellence. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. Now, have I missed a meal in the past 2 months? No. Have I missed a workout in the past 6 months? No. But have I gone to bed way too late twice in the past week? Yes. You need to strive for perfection.
I was at work at like 3 p.m, and he sent me a photo of himself like sleeping. I'm like, nice.
Yeah, like that's like everything needs to revolve around lifting if you want to be good.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, I try to sleep at least 8 to 10 hours a night, and with naps on top of that. Like, you need everything to be perfect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's kind of my Achilles heel is, well, one, good food. I don't skip meals, I just put in extra meals. My Achilles heel is shit food and sleeping. Like, you've seen me, like, work out. Like, you can barely talk to me when I work out.
Yes.
But it's just the matter of getting to sleep sometimes is the hardest part.
I get it. It's all the small things that are what we struggle with. We need to make a part 2. I feel like people's attention spans are just like dead right now from all the information. Good information. Unfortunately, people don't know how to concentrate, me included. But good. That was a good talk, man.
It's not the mountain in front of you; it's the pebble in your shoe.
Hell yeah. Good stuff.